Yeah, buddy, you know what it is? Hell yeah, it's your favorite in the whole fucking world. Motherfucking Detroit Fires all up in the house. Uh, I'm gonna do another video about understanding sim racing, and I want to completely explain the understanding, the theory of slow in, fast out, and how to really completely understand what that means. Okay, so I know that you say, what do you mean slow in, fast out? Right? I mean, you know, I don't want to be slow. I don't want no motherfuckers to run me over. You know, but that's what kind of like what you're looking for when you're racing somebody that doesn't understand the theory in racing about slow in, fast out. Okay? Anybody from NASCAR to F1 to basic Mazda Miata to any type of racing in real life or in simulation, they completely understand the concept or the theory or the idea of slow in, fast out. Okay, it's the best way to handle a race car around the track, and you want to be completely in control of the car. Okay, and I will completely explain what it means in a simple way to help everyone understand it. Okay, at first it's going to kind of feel weird. It's like, man, I'm going slower. It's too slow, you know. But when you do it and you finally get it, you're going to be very fast. Okay, very fast. So, and also this is pretty much like a good way to balance the car, a good way to save on the tires. Okay. So we're gonna go. We got our Nissan GTR 2017. You know, it's got some power to it. You know, 737 horsepower, 3,900 fucking pounds. Boy, that's a fucking elephant, right? So we're gonna go to our favorite track that I know very well to show, to help explain this concept. Okay. Man, who driving a race car at 9:30 a.m.? I would. I mean, who the fuck driving a race car at 7:30 a.m.? I mean, I would. You know. But we'll do that, man. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I mean, pretty much like, you know, I'm gonna tell you my settings, my car settings. You know, I'm running soft racing tires. As far as like controller settings, I have 10 steering sensitivity. So, as far as like assists go, you know, manual transmission, track control is off, ABS is weak, auto drive, you don't need that shit. You don't need that baby stuff. Driver line assistance, baby stuff. Brake indicator, baby stuff. Braking area, baby stuff. Replace car after leaving track. That's more baby stuff. Active stability management, more baby stuff. Counter steering assistance, more baby stuff. So all that shit is turned off. I don't run with it. You know, I have experience and I like the way it feels, and I want to feel the car. I don't want to be assisted, you know, like a crutch or a baby. But you know, if you're new, you might need to go in there, but you got to know what you're doing to understand those little settings and stuff. So I kind of explained that before. But we're gonna go out here on the track. So we're here, and we want to completely understand slow in, fast out. And pretty much the most simplest way to understand this, to really engrave it into your fucking brain, this concept, this thing, okay, is where are you getting back on the throttle? That's all it's about. So we're gonna just slip up here. You know, I can slow down enough, and I hit this little apex. You know, where am I getting? Is it down here, or did I drive it out so hard that I can't get in the throttle until I'm like way the fuck over here? Okay, that's the kind of the best way to explain it. It's like, where are you slowly inputting the throttle? Not full throttle, but where are you gradually starting to get ease back in the throttle? Okay, and the throttle is not like off on, off on, off on. 0 100, 0 100%, 0% 100%, 0% 100%. It's not like that. There's a balance to it. And the same thing with the brakes, but it's much easier to overdrive the brakes with the controller. You know, I'm playing with a controller. Yeah, I do the best I can, right? But I can show the concept, the idea of slow and fast out and what it does. So we're gonna just take off. We're gonna get some speed. We got to get going. We got to get up to racing speed. And I really want to think about my input with my steering and my throttle. How much steering am I putting versus throttle? So we don't want to go into the corner and find out how far can we brake. We don't want to do that, because by that time that you do that and you approach the corner, sometimes you're going to be past the apex before you can get on the throttle. Okay, and you're playing with that grip limit with the tires. So if you find a comfortable braking zone that allows you to apply the throttle at the apex, that's a nice balance for the car. Okay? And that you'll find that if you do this, apply this thing, slow and fast out, you're going to have a better handling, balanced car. The sequence is to know know the track. That's why I always go back to this track, because I know it very well and I can explain things better. But we're going to find our braking zone, apply the brakes. We're going to look for our apex, turn the car in, coast the car, and find out where are we going to start to apply the throttle. That's pretty much all it is. So I'll kind of commentate and explain a little bit about what I'm doing. So you got full throttle, keep going, full throttle. A little bit of brake, slow it down a little bit. Point in, I'm already back on the throttle, full throttle, brake, back in the throttle, coasting around, full throttle, hold it down all the way, flat out. This is a back stretch or back straight, whatever you want to call it. Okay, here comes that red sign, slow it down, use the gearing to slow the car down. I kind of see how I blew that. You see that? It's the best example. It looked fast, it looked good, but you notice that I was not able to get back on the throttle until way later on. That is a bad example of slow in, fast out. That's the best example to show you what it means. So here we go. Kind of aim the car back to the apex. Braking early, aiming. Slowly, gradually back in the throttle, full throttle. Next apex. Missed the ball, hit the grass, but around here it's kind of crazy, but aiming for the apex, full throttle again. Braking, gradually back into it. Okay, braking again. Already back in the throttle. Full throttle. Brake, slow down, back in the throttle. Coasting. Full throttle, back stretch. Now we know we need to start a little bit earlier than last time. Back in the throttle. Driving it around, back in the throttle. Full throttle. Flat out. Aiming for our next apex. And back in the throttle. Brake early, brake early. Slow it down, aiming for the apex. Back in the throttle. Slow it up early. Right back in that throttle. Same thing, over and over. Right back in the throttle. Early, slow down early. Back in the throttle, full throttle. Brake early. Slow it down. I turned in a little too late. And a back stretch again, full throttle. Remember our braking zones coming up. Slow it down, back in the throttle, coasting around. Full throttle. See that's a prime example of braking too late. Because I'm not able to get on the throttle early. We're prioritizing our exit over our braking zone. And that's pretty much how you be fast. And you want to come out the corner like a rocket. Especially on the straightaways. You really want to back up that corner to get the maximum speed down the straightaway. Braking early. Look how much control I have. See, now I'm going to barrel it in right here. I'm going to go. See, I lose control of it. Same thing here. The action wasn't too bad. See, that's pushing too hard. Notice how later I can get back on the throttle. It's going to take me more time. I'll do the same thing here. Slow it down. Look how far into the turn I got to wait. Same thing here. Look how far I got to wait to get back in the throttle. And what I'm doing is I'm carrying too much speed into the corner. And actually, what I'm doing is, what's happening is that when you drive it in so hard into the corner, it kind of really unbalances the car. It doesn't want to do all that shit. So you got to back that shit up. Slow down, slow in, fast out. And the best way to understand it, to see what it's doing, is when are you exactly getting back on the throttle. That's what the best way to explain it. Yeah, buddy. So that's like the best way to understand this idea, right? So it's the best way to handle the car and not bury the car into the corner and slamming on the brakes and turning and then waiting a long period of time way past the apex to get back in the throttle. Once we want to time it, our timing want to be so good that once we kiss that apex, we get there. We're starting to gradually already back in the throttle. We don't want to be waiting, okay? And that means you're overdriving the car pretty much. And people want to make adjustments on the car, and it's what it is. And not understanding the concept of slow in, fast out. So there's going to be a lot of online drivers that you race with. They're not going to understand this concept, okay? So that's what you're going to be looking for, okay? Now, I don't know why Gran Turismo has never added a rear view mirror in this view. This is my favorite driving view. But even here, you can kind of see the rear view mirror there. You know, all the mirrors work, right? So you got to be looking for that. So the optimal, you know, a lot of people, optimal view they drive in is this one right here because they got a rear view mirror. We can actually see behind us. So not only do you, when you're racing, you got to be looking behind you, Because a lot of people are not going to be understanding, they're not going to stand the slow in, fast out. They're going to think you're braking too early, right? And they're the ones who's going to fly off the fucking track. They're the ones who's going to overdrive the car and burn their tires up. Okay? So this is a concept that you have to understand, and when you know it, you're going to be much faster and more consistent, okay, on the racetrack, to not to overdrive the car. And this is where we kind of, in an area of small, really small margin, to try to find more speed, right? Then we can make adjustments to the car to find more fucking speed, okay? So just to know that when you race online, whatever, that people are not going to understand this, and they're going to think you're braking too late or you're slow, whatever, but it's not being slow, okay? It's actually being fast. We're prioritizing our exit over our entry. We're not trying to bury the car in. Brake late as possible. We want to brake and have control by the time we meet the apex. We want to drive the car. We don't want the car to drive us, or drive yourself, whatever you want to call it. We want the car to drive you. We want to drive the car. We want to be in complete control at all times with the car, so that if something were to happen at these turns or a crash, you need to avoid a crash or something like that, you'll have control over the car. It wouldn't take much input to make an adjustment, okay, if you had to avoid something. But if you go barreling in there, like everyone else does, you're not going to have any control over that car, because you're already at pretty much the limit of the tires. And that's what we're really focusing on. That's what connects you to the road, is the fucking rubber, okay? Those fucking rubbers, all right? You know, your girlfriend don't want to talk about rubber. She like rubber. We all like rubber. Race car drivers like rubber. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. That's the best way to help understand the slow in, fast out ability. Okay? That's it for the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. You know what it is. Shit, Detroit Fire in the house. Don't stop. Get it, get it.